The morning sun painted Tokyo's skyline in brilliant gold as Admiral Sarah Chen stepped onto the balcony of the Global Federation headquarters. At 42, she commanded Earth's unified defense fleet with the same calm precision that had earned her respect across all nations. Her coffee steamed in the cool air as she watched cargo shuttles lift off from the nearby spaceport, carrying supplies to Luna Base and the asteroid mining stations. Another peaceful morning, Admiral. Dr. Marcus Reeves joined her, his perpetually messy hair defying all attempts at military neatness. The 38-year-old physicist had revolutionized humanity's understanding of quantum mechanics, but he still couldn't manage a proper salute. Sarah smiled. "Every peaceful morning is a gift, Marcus. 20 years since the last conflict on Earth. Sometimes I wonder if we've forgotten how to fight." "Maybe that's not such a bad thing," Marcus replied, adjusting his glasses. "The universe seems quiet enough." The building's proximity alarms suddenly shrieked. Both turned to see massive shadows emerging from seemingly empty space, their hulls rippling with energy that made the air itself appear to bend. Sarah's coffee mug shattered on the ground. "Emergency stations." Sarah barked into her comm unit. "This is not a drill. Unknown vessels in Earth orbit. All defense platforms to ready status." The command center erupted into controlled chaos as Sarah and Marcus rushed inside. Screens displayed tactical data as more ships materialized around Earth. Each vessel dwarfed humanity's largest cruisers, their angular design suggesting a brutal efficiency. 47 contacts and counting, reported Lieutenant Commander James Park, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. "They're jamming our communications with the colonies." "Any response to our hails?" Sarah demanded. "Negative, Admiral. They're not." "Wait, incoming transmission." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a creature that defied human comprehension. 6 eyes arranged in perfect symmetry stared from a face of polished obsidian. When it spoke, the translation software struggled with the harsh, clicking language. "Species 4721. Your evolutionary period has concluded. The Kraxan Empire claims this system. Compliance ensures survival. Resistance ensures extinction. You have 1 rotation to surrender governmental control." The transmission cut off before anyone could respond. "1 rotation," Marcus muttered. 24 hours. Sarah straightened. "Get me the Federation Council. And Marcus, I need you to start analyzing everything we just saw. Their ships, their technology, anything that might give us an edge." Within an hour, emergency sessions convened across the globe. The Global Federation, formed after humanity's last war, had maintained peace through cooperation and shared prosperity. Now it faced its first true test. Federation President Amara Okafor addressed the world from her secure bunker beneath Geneva. "Citizens of Earth, we face an unprecedented challenge. The Kraxan Empire has demanded our surrender. While we seek peaceful resolution to all conflicts, we will not yield our freedom to threats." Sarah watched the president's address from the orbital defense platform Armstrong. Through the viewports, she could see the Kraxan fleet positioned like predators circling prey. Their ships seemed to absorb light itself, creating voids in space that hurt to look at directly. "Admiral," Park interrupted her thoughts. "Dr. Reeves is requesting an urgent conference." Marcus appeared on her screen, his face flushed with excitement despite the circumstances. "Sarah, I've been analyzing their arrival. These ships didn't travel through normal space. They're using some kind of dimensional fold technology, far beyond anything we theorized. Can we defend against them? Our weapons might scratch their paint. But Sarah, there's something else. Their communication. It wasn't just translated. It was telepathic. These beings might share some form of collective consciousness." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. On the tactical display, energy readings from the Kraxan ships spiked beyond anything their sensors could properly measure. "They're charging weapons," Park shouted. "Multiple targeting solutions detected. They're aiming for population centers." Sarah's mind raced. 24 hours, they hadn't even used half their time. All defense platforms, engage. Protect the cities. Earth's orbital defenses opened fire. Railguns accelerated projectiles to significant fractions of light speed. Laser arrays focused terawatts of energy on enemy hulls. Nuclear missiles streaked toward their targets. The Kraxan ship shields flared briefly, absorbing the assault without apparent effort. Then they returned fire. Beams of twisted light carved through Earth's atmosphere. Where they touched, matter simply ceased to exist. New York vanished in an instant. London followed seconds later. Beijing, Moscow, Lagos. One by one, humanity's greatest cities were erased from existence. Sarah watched in horror as the defense platforms around her exploded. The Armstrong shuddered as a grazing hit tore away half its structure. She found herself floating in zero gravity, emergency bulkheads sealing behind her. "Abandon ship," she ordered, though she knew it was too late for most of her crew. All survivors to the escape pods. As her pod launched, Sarah caught a final glimpse of the Armstrong disintegrating under focused fire. Below, Earth burned. Continents were scared with wounds visible from orbit. Billions of voices had been silenced in minutes. Marcus's pod docked with hers as they descended. His face was pale, glasses cracked. "The shields," he gasped. "I managed to scan them during the attack. They're not energy barriers, they're probability fields. They literally reduce the chance of anything harmful reaching their hulls to zero. Can we counter them? Maybe. But we need time, resources, and—" He paused, looking at the devastation below. "And we need to survive first." Their pods crashed into the Pacific, emergency beacons guiding them to a submarine that had escaped the initial attacks. As they were pulled aboard, Sarah heard fragmented reports from around the globe. The death toll was incomprehensible. 3 billion in the first hour, but humanity endured. Military bases, research facilities, and emergency bunkers had survived. The Kraxan had hit hard, but they hadn't finished the job. High Commander Vex Prime stood on the bridge of the Kraxan dreadnought extinction's edge, his 6 eyes surveying the burning planet below. The first phase had proceeded as calculated. The species' major population centers were eliminated, their pathetic defenses swept aside. "High Commander," his tactical officer reported, "scattered resistance remains. Shall we proceed with total cleansing?" "Negative. Deploy ground forces to secure resources and remaining population centers. This species shows potential as laborers. Those who survive will serve the Empire." As Kraxan dropships descended toward Earth's surface, Vex Prime felt a flutter of unease through the hive mind. Something about this species troubled him. Their technology was primitive, yet they had reacted faster than predicted. Their cities had fallen, yet communication traffic suggested organized evacuation efforts had saved millions. No matter. The Kraxan had conquered 100 worlds. Earth would be no different. In an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Sarah stood before a gathering of surviving military and civilian leaders. Her uniform was torn, her face marked by burns from the escape pod crash. But her voice carried steel. "They hit us first," she said, looking at each face in turn. "They killed billions without warning, without mercy. They think we're beaten." She paused, letting the weight of their losses settle. "They're wrong." Marcus stepped forward, a salvaged Kraxan weapon component in his hands. "Their technology is advanced, but not invincible. We can learn from it. We can adapt." Sarah nodded. "The Kraxan Empire made 2 mistakes today. They left survivors, and they gave us a reason to fight. We will not go quietly. We will not surrender. And when this is over, they will learn what happens when you attack Earth without provocation." The room filled with grim determination. Outside, the remnants of humanity began to organize, in hidden bunkers and mountain strongholds, in submarine bases and underground cities. The resistance took shape. Scientists studied captured Kraxan technology. Military strategists planned guerrilla operations. Civilians turned workshops into weapon factories. The Kraxen had delivered a devastating first blow. But as history had proven time and again, humanity's greatest strength emerged in its darkest hours. The invaders had awakened something that 20 years of peace hadn't diminished: the indomitable human spirit. In the weeks that followed, as Kraxen patrols marched through ruined cities and their commanders planned the systematic exploitation of Earth, they failed to notice the shadows moving in the ruins. They dismissed the occasional missing patrol as accidents. They attributed equipment failures to Earth's environment. High Commander Vex Prime received reports of these minor inconveniences through the hive mind. He categorized them as acceptable losses, the dying gasps of a conquered species. The humans were broken, their world in ruins. What possible threat could the survivors pose to the might of the Kraxen Empire? It was a question he would come to regret not asking sooner, for in those shadows, humanity was learning. Every captured weapon, every fallen Kraxen soldier, every intercepted transmission added to their knowledge. Sarah Chen and Marcus Reeves, along with thousands of others, were turning desperate survival into calculated resistance. The Kraxen had won the first battle, but the war for Earth had only just begun. Retriclad can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. 6 months had passed since the sky burned. The Colorado mountains held their secrets well, concealing the sprawling underground complex that had become humanity's primary resistance base. Sarah Chen stood before a tactical display showing Kraxen positions across the globe, red markers indicating enemy strongholds like wounds on Earth's surface. "Report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of countless decisions that meant life or death for the scattered survivors. Colonel Lisa Torres, former commander of the European Defense Initiative, stepped forward. "Kraxen patrols have increased in Sector 7. They're systematically searching the ruins of Denver. We've had to relocate 3 safe houses in the past week." "They're learning our patterns," Sarah observed. "We need to change tactics. Random intervals, new routes. Keep them guessing." The command center hummed with activity. Banks of computers salvaged from destroyed installations processed intelligence from resistance cells worldwide. Engineers worked to maintain equipment cobbled together from human and alien technology. Everyone moved with purpose, driven by loss and the burning need for justice. Dr. Marcus Reeves emerged from his laboratory section, exhaustion evident in his features, but his eyes bright with discovery. His team of scientists had been working around the clock to decode Kraxen technology. "Sarah, we need to talk. Privately." They retreated to a small conference room carved from solid rock. Marcus activated a privacy field, ironically adapted from Kraxen technology, before speaking. "We've made a breakthrough. The Kraxen weapons we've captured, they're not independent units. They're all connected to their users through some kind of neural interface." Sarah leaned forward. "Connected how?" "It's part of their hive mind structure. Every Kraxen soldier, every piece of equipment, even their ships, they're all nodes in a vast network. Think of it like a biological internet, but one that operates at the quantum level. That explains their coordination," Sarah mused. "No communication lag, instant tactical responses." "Exactly. But here's the interesting part." Marcus pulled up a holographic display showing brain wave patterns. "The hive mind has a hierarchy. Soldiers at the bottom, commanders at various levels, and somewhere at the top, a supreme consciousness directing everything. Can we tap into it? Better, we can attack it." Marcus's fingers danced across the display, showing weapon schematics. "Their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. Disrupt the hive mind, and you don't just confuse them, you partially blind and deafen them. They lose their perfect coordination." Sarah studied the designs. "How do we build this?" "That's the challenging part. We need more Kraxen tech, specifically their communication nodes. And we need a field test." A knock interrupted them. Lieutenant Commander Park entered, his face grave. "Admiral, we intercepted Kraxan transmissions. They're planning something big, a processing center for captured humans. Sarah's expression hardened. Throughout the occupation, the Kraxan had been collecting survivors, sorting them into categories. The strong became slave labor. Scientists and engineers were subjected to neural extraction, a horrific process that literally drained knowledge from human minds. The rest simply disappeared. Where? Old Chicago ruins. They're converting the remains of the Willis Tower into some kind of prison complex. First transport arrives in 48 hours. Sarah turned to Marcus. Looks like we found our field test. The mission briefing took place in the main assembly hall. 50 volunteers, the best fighters the resistance had, listened as Sarah outlined the plan. The Chicago operation would be humanity's first major counteroffensive, a chance to rescue thousands of captured humans and test their new weapons. The Kraxan expect us to hide. To survive, Sarah addressed the team. They're about to learn we can bite back. Colonel Torres will lead Alpha Team for the prisoner extraction. Dr. Reeves and Beta Team will test the neural disruptors. Charlie Team provides overwash and extraction. Questions. Captain David Kim, a former South Korean Special Forces operator, raised his hand. What's our intel on enemy strength? Surveillance indicates a garrison of 200 Kraxan soldiers, plus automated defenses. They're confident. They think we're too broken to attempt a rescue. They're about to get an education, Kim replied, earning grim smiles from his fellow fighters. 2 nights later, the teams moved through the wasteland that had once been Chicago. The city's skeletal remains reached toward a sky permanently stained by ash and alien energy residue. Snow fell in colors it shouldn't, tainted by weapons that had rewritten the laws of physics. Marcus clutched his prototype disruptor, a device that looked like it had been assembled from spare parts, because it had been. His team of scientists and engineers weren't soldiers, but they'd volunteered for this mission. They needed real-world data, and they were willing to risk their lives to get it. Remember, Sarah's voice crackled through their earpieces. We get one shot at this. If the disruptors don't work, abort immediately. We can't afford to lose you. They approached the Kraxan Processing Center from 3 directions. The Willis Tower's twisted frame had been reinforced with alien alloys, creating a fortress that pulsed with malevolent energy. Searchlights swept the ruins, operated by creatures that needed no sleep and felt no fatigue. Beta Team in position, Marcus reported. Activating disruptors in 30 seconds. Alpha ready, Torres confirmed. Charges set on the detention blocks. Charlie overwatch established, Kim added. Clear fields of fire on all approach routes. Sarah watched from the mobile command post, her hands gripping the console. Everything depended on the next few moments. If Marcus was wrong about the hive mind vulnerability. Activating now, Marcus announced. The night erupted in chaos. The neural disruptors, crude but effective, sent waves of quantum interference through the local hive mind network. Kraxan soldiers stumbled, their perfect coordination shattered. Some fired at shadows, others stood frozen as their connection to the collective consciousness fragmented. It's working, Marcus shouted. They're disoriented. Alpha moving in, Torres ordered. Explosions rocked the detention blocks as human fighters poured through the breaches. Inside, they found horrors. Thousands of humans packed in cells, many showing signs of neural extraction procedures. The rescue operation unfolded with desperate efficiency. Prisoners were rushed to waiting vehicles while resistance fighters held off confused Kraxan forces. For precious minutes, the disruptors gave humanity the advantage they needed. Then the counterattack came. A Kraxan commander, partially shielded from the neural disruption, managed to coordinate a response. Energy weapons carved through the night, and human fighters began to fall. We need more time, Torres called out. Still have 500 prisoners inside. Sarah made the hardest decision of her command. Charlie Team, execute diversion pattern. Buy them time. Kim's Overwatch team opened fire from multiple positions, drawing Kraxan attention. It was a suicide mission, and everyone knew it. But they held their ground, giving the rescue teams precious minutes. As the last transport pulled away, Marcus watched the Willis Tower collapse under Kraxan orbital bombardment. They'd saved 3,000 humans, but at a cost. 18 resistance fighters hadn't made it back, including most of Charlie team. Back at the mountain base, the rescued prisoners brought intelligence that changed everything. Among them was Dr. Elena Vasquez, a neurobiologist who had been forced to assist the Kraxan before her escape. The hive mind isn't just for communication, she explained to the assembled leadership. It's literally how they exist. Individual Kraxan have minimal autonomous function. Sever them from the collective for too long, and they die. Like bees without a hive, Marcus mused. Exactly. But there's more. I saw their command structure. The entire invasion force answers to one being, High Commander Vex Prime. He's the local node of their larger empire. Take him out, and the Earth occupation forces lose their connection to the Kraxan homeworlds. Sarah processed this information. So we cut the head off the snake. It won't be easy, Elena warned. Vex Prime operates from a dreadnought in orbit, the most heavily defended ship in their fleet. Over the following weeks, the Chicago rescue became a legend among the resistance. More operations followed, each bolder than the last. The neural disruptors were refined, produced in hidden workshops, and distributed to cells worldwide. For the first time since the invasion, humanity wasn't just surviving. They were fighting back effectively. High Commander Vex Prime stood in his command chamber, his 6 eyes focused on tactical displays showing increasing resistance activity. The hive mind buzzed with reports of disrupted operations, missing patrols, and liberated processing centers. Analysis, he commanded. His science officer's thoughts flowed directly into his consciousness. The humans have developed a localized hive mind disruption technology. Crude but effective within limited range. Recommendation: adapt shield frequencies to block interference. Implement immediately, and increase security on all installations. These humans are proving troublesome. What troubled Vex Prime most wasn't the tactical setbacks. Those were minor inconveniences. It was the pattern he saw emerging. Every Kraxan victory seemed to teach the humans something new. Every weapon deployed against them eventually found its way into human hands, modified, and turned against its creators. He had studied the conquered worlds of the Empire. Most species broke under the initial assault. The few that resisted rarely lasted more than a few months before despair took hold. But these humans, they seemed to grow stronger from their suffering. Their decentralized command structure, which should have been a weakness, made them nearly impossible to predict or counter effectively. As Vex Prime pondered these observations, he failed to notice the small maintenance drone attached to the outer hull of his dreadnought. Inside the drone, a human operative named Thomas Wright finished installing a quantum transmitter, a device that would give the Resistance direct access to Kraxan fleet communications. The war had evolved. What began as desperate survival had transformed into something else, a systematic campaign to dismantle the occupation from within. Sarah Chen and Marcus Reeves had learned the fundamental truth about their enemy. The Kraxan Empire had never faced a species quite like humanity. In hidden bases across Earth, resistance fighters trained with captured weapons. Scientists dissected alien technology. Former enemies, Russians and Americans, Chinese and Indians, worked side by side, united by a common purpose. The Kraxan had destroyed nations, but in doing so, they had created something stronger, a truly unified human species. As reports of successful operations poured in, Sarah allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The Kraxan had struck first, believing humans to be weak and divided. They were learning, one painful lesson at a time, just how wrong they were. But the real war was yet to come. The neural disruptors were just the beginning. Hidden in mountain laboratories and underwater facilities, human scientists worked on something bigger, a weapon that wouldn't just disrupt the hive mind, but could potentially destroy it entirely. The Kraxen had brought war to Earth. Now humanity was preparing to take that war to them.